On their first possession every game, their first play 3 times. They're not going to score this time. A flag comes. We just talked about that they have indeed scored on their first possession in each and every game. 5 of the 6 have been touchdowns. Washington with time to throw, and it's incomplete. Look, were dropped. Potential big plays on passes that were dropped. And on 2nd and 20, Washington hanging on to it. And the right tackle, Phil Smith, got it. Washington, another straight drop back, and he was creamed. Both of them resulting in touchdowns. Georgia Tech had 2 penalties on its first drive, and now Tevin Washington, their quarterback per game, only scored 21 against Maryland last week. This time it's the dive, David Sims, State and Maryland. Washington pitches it to Embry Peoples, and there's the explosive offense.
Option play, no dive, quarterback gets taken, kicks it outside, and the key to this whole offense is the great perimeter blocking by Georgia. That receiver will block him.
And another running play by Washington, pitching it to Roddy Jones, and he picks up another Georgia Tech first down.
Don't see, we're faking the dive, quick pitch outside. You're not going to see a whole bunch of different plays based on down and distance.
1st and 10 from the 29, 2nd drive of the game for Tech. Washington held on to it. And
same formula Maryland had his success. They're penetrating. Jim Reed, defensive coordinator for Virginia. They ran this offense at Richmond. He understands the triple option. And so
Richmond, also at UMass, now a defensive coordinator. Averaging over 32 yards a catch, tops in the nation. Washington threw it as he was going down.
Washington gets a little pressure. He's better off just running. You don't want to turn the ball over down here in the red area. Plays in anybody's game plan for 3rd and 19.
Washington pitches it out to Jones, and he's a great pro in the NFL. On it to block the field goal. Georgia Tech shut out for the first time in the first quarter all year. Sends Stephen Hill on an end around. He took the pitch.
Option offense, particularly with Paul Johnson and his staff for the time they've been together. They need to look at what Jim Reed wants to do. Start chipping away at that concrete and bigger plays start happening.
Big play by Stephen Hill, only his 2nd carry of the year, and then going down is Embry Peoples. They've seen on the field, 2nd and 9 for Tech. Washington hangs on to it and then pitches it to Roddy Jones, and Jones.
Going option to the right here. The value of continuity on an offense and a staff.
Now from the 38. Washington down so far. 2nd and 10. Orwin Smith.
This is a toss play back out. They're going, this is an old buck sweep wing T type play. It's not really a triple option play.
First down. Embry Peoples' turn this time, and that's a very good academic standards at Virginia. 2nd and 7. Washington with the pitch out to Peoples.
Jim Reed's been playing a 1-high defense. You see 2 high now. He's trying to get an extra safety, getting across the field to that. Normally what's been happening is there's only been 1 safety out there, and there's been more guys down here in the box. So in that play there, the opposite field safety helping get in on the run play, adding an extra defender.
And that's, look at McLeod just all the way across the field to make the stop. And a very short one. Washington just hangs on to it, and Life is a defensive tackle for the Terps. Washington holds on to. Washington hung on onto it, and he went down right away.
Last year, this year converted to linebacker.
Mistake, but always does it at 100 miles an hour. 3rd and 6, and into the end zone, Tevin Washington.
The quarterback follow right behind the fullback. Paul Johnson's been doing this a while, and one thing that'll happen if
Georgia Tech starting from its 15. Washington, second time they have run this play, and making something out of nothing is Tyler Melton, who cut 3:19 and counting left to go in this one. Preston Lyons' first play is the B-back, but Tevin Washington, the quarterback, hangs on to it himself. And Tech with all 3 of its timeouts remaining. Washington with plenty of time takes a shot downfield, and Chase Minifield had it all the way.
Jim Reed putting Chase Minifield on man-to-man coverage of Stephen Hill. That ball needs to be up.
Georgia Tech 0 for 4 passing with an interception for Tevin Washington, and they are going to take a shot. Washington goes up top and throws his second interception of the game. True freshman for Tech. They averaged 553. Great first half for Virginia. They're up 10 as we send it to Dari Noka. Dari for SportsCenter U. Points per game, 554 yards per game, but only 154 yards in the first half. Washington hanging on to it. Chase Minifield is blocked, and that breaks Washington free. A flag is down around midfield as Washington crosses the goal line.
Legal block in the back. Number 5.
Touchdown run.
What Jim Reed, the defensive coordinator for Virginia, has done a nice job of. There's a block in the back right there. Has done a nice job of limiting.
His hands up in the air, which guilty guys always seem to do, right? You put your hands up in the air like I didn't do it, when indeed he did. That's Orwin Smith at second half. Virginia brings the blitz, and it works out. 3rd and 6. And the pitch. 3rd downs coming into this game.
Little wrinkle, unbalanced, all the receivers are trips to the left, and then pulling the guard.
Good enough for the first down. Puts the ball on the 45. And Sims gets it on back to Preston Lyons now in at the B-back position. And the dive play to Preston Lyons. They are 4 for 7 on 4th down so far this season. Washington hangs on to it. And 2nd and 8. Nothing doing there for Sim.
Over here to the left side.
On 3rd and 7, they converted on a 4th down play earlier to keep this drive alive, and it looks like Washington has been marked down a little bit. Replay. And that was a very generous spot for Georgia Tech.
Play.
Get the first.
As long as they execute and don't make mistakes, they could be productive.
Coming around and getting the pitch is Roddy Jones, and he is just stampeded. Rodney McLeod in 2nd and 6. Virginia sends pressure.
Needs to bury the snap count. You see Virginia blitzing in there, timing up the snap count. Works out perfectly. You cannot allow the defense to time up your snap.
Came in to blow that play up. Tech 0 for 2 on 3rd downs this drive, the 2 for 2 on 4th downs. Washington held on to it too long. He had Orwin Smith out there.
With a little 3-4 himself this time for the first time. Georgia Tech, first time they've seen it.
On the defense.
The ruling here, Pam, is if you jump off directly opposite an offensive lineman and cause him to jump, then it is on
10. It's a 4th and 5. Washington Went back to pass, pulled it down, and now he's got a clear field all the way down to the today. And they got a 23-yard run on that one.
Virginia rushing 4, playing man, got guys back turned to the quarterback and leaves the middle of the field wide open.
Opening drive of the second half. Right up the gut, close to the goal line. That's David Sims.
Follow territory for option teams here.
And they try it. This game, 3rd and goal. And this minutes.
Virginia had gone that first half without a penalty, and
At midfield had to punt, but it was a good punt by Jimmy Howell that has back Georgia Tech down to the 4.5 yards per carry.
having some success tossing the ball out here rather than getting it on the option. And Orwin Smith, their talent.
2nd and 1. Tevin Washington hangs on to it. 85 yards in 19 plays. And there you see the rush yards now tilted in Georgia Tech's favor. First down, Washington decided not to pitch. And trying to shut down this potent offense. The pitch, and Orwin Smith is taken down.
This play is made by an extremely aggressive safety running downhill.
One heck of a game for Virginia. 3rd and 7. Washington completes his first pass of the game. And it's Orwin Smith, the running back. And he keeps going. There was a flag back at the 41-yard line.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 84.
That's
Pretty good ball by the official.
Melton, known as one of the better blockers for Georgia Tech. That one, however, was not legal, and in the race is a 60. On the dive play, David Sims. They do. Washington goes up top, nothing doing. Jeff
Algro getting that covered.
Coulter Phillips, the tight end, was the intended receiver. They give the ball up on downs, and Tevin Washington breaks free. That was a good tackle with Watford, who's not a very accurate thrower.
You see Georgia Tech going with 2 receivers at the top of the screen right there. They're trying to get
Aimed in Atlanta. The pitch. Orwin Smith has nowhere to go but down. Billy. The fans cheering for a stop on 3rd and 10. Washington on the roll. Completes it, but well short of the first down. That's Tyler. Thing after 1 quarter. 24-14 after the half, and have not scored in the second half. And that pitch actually hit David Sims. Thank you, Dari. We really didn't expect that lead to last long, and it certainly didn't. 2nd and 14. Tevin Washington in a mess of trouble.
not what Georgia Tech is good at doing, dropping back and throwing the football. Long yardage situation.
Bad way. Washington has nobody open. Great coverage by the Virginia defense. It's going to punt.
A great stop. Pam, you were saying they were needed 14, and in my mind, I'm thinking what they need is not to turn it over, because